Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing some polishing on my fuel tanks. It's the end of summer and I want to tie them over until next spring when I can get at them again. So I'm going to show you some of the products that I use for sanding and for polishing, so stick around. Alright, so I'm going to begin the whole video by saying that I am not a professional polisher. I am a trucker and I'm learning how to polish. So I'll tell you what I know, what works for me, the products that work for what we do here. But I've learned an awful lot from other guys, especially Evan Steger with Time to Shine products and Evan's Detailing and Polishing. And I'm going to put a link to his channel. And he's got a whole bunch of videos that you really need to go check out. And he's the one to really teach you how to do this. So anyway, all the caveats out of the way, here we go. So I began here by sanding, and reason for that is because with all the gravel roads that we drive and things like that, my tanks get really beat up. You can see I got a ding there, got a couple of them right here. These things just take a beating. So I began with some 320 paper. Let me see which one is it here. That's 400. 320. Okay. And then I moved to 400. And run over it real quick with just a little bit of 600. That's not entirely necessary. I think you really can cut polish from 400, but you can tell I did not go all the way up either. The main reason that I'm doing this is because if you leave those dings and those pits in your aluminum as your buff is going across there, it's going to leave black streaks. Okay, so I'm only going part way up and tried to feather it. I'm not pressing real hard as I'm sanding, just trying to let the paper do its work. Something else I want to add is I get my paper from Time to Shine products because it's designed for sanding metal. If you were to go to Fleet Farm or the hardware store and things like that and pick up some 320, some 400, it'll work, but it's not necessarily all sandpaper is created equal. Some of it's made for wood or all-purpose, things like that. Just using the sander that I've always had for a long time, since college. Just a simple little palm sander. And let's move on to what I use for polishing. I really like using a high speed. Again, this can be dangerous. I've put that in other videos before, but if you're running a high speed grinder like we do, you want to make sure that you have safety plates on that thing, because these babies really spin fast. Find the spec on it for you, but they run a crazy RPM when they're wide open. Okay, I also have a variable speed, and that I use the buffs with the welded center in them. Again, I get everything from Time to Shine products, and I mark them, what their purpose is, and I put an arrow on there. You'll see a brand new buff comes with a Sharpied arrow on there. That's very important that you always put them on the same direction. Okay, so same with the rouges, get them from Time to Shine. The yellow is going to go with the green, and the brown goes with the orange. So that's the cut stage. I'm going to use the smaller buff for some of those tough to reach areas up on top underneath the sleeper. Obviously you're going to want to make sure you get everything up out of the way. You don't want any wires hanging down. You don't want anything getting in your way. And for the really far back areas, I have a hand polish, and I'll show you kind of what I do to blend that all in. But enough talk, let's get to it. I wanted to add one more quick thing when we're talking about sandpaper. It's very tempting to just grab something that's really aggressive and just start really grinding on that thing till you start seeing results. But I want to offer you some caution, because I've done that. I've made that mistake of just beginning with something that's way too aggressive, 180 or something like that. Sometimes you do have to start that aggressive. You really do, just to get all that pitting out. That's not what I'm after here today, and I have actually caused more work in the long run to try and get all the swirls out and get those pigtails and those things like that that you create more work in the process of trying to do good. You end up making it worse and making more work for yourself. You don't want to do that. So only sand what you have to get that smooth surface, to get that pitting out. Now, I will show you, I'm not going to get all my pitting out. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera, but there's still plenty there. What I'm trying to do is knock the worst of it down, because I don't want to leave a whole bunch of just black streaks, because I have some of the aluminum sticking out. Okay, so that's the main thing I'm after today, is just try and knock off the big stuff. I'm not going for perfection, but just wanted to add that quick note. I'm not going after 80 grit or something like that right off the bat. I started with 320. Sometimes you have to go more aggressive, but don't unless you have to. Okay, so I like to always have some old clothes laying around that are gonna get filthy, just ready. I keep them in with all my polishing stuff. I like to have earbuds in and either listen to some music or listen to an audiobook as I'm doing this. Your ear protection and a mask are extremely important. You don't want to breathe that crap. It's nasty stuff. So even a dust mask is better than nothing, but I really like these masks a lot. So wear your protection. Gloves help me. Not everybody has to wear gloves, but because I've done it enough, I know what works for me. I actually double glove on my right hand, because I tend to push a little bit harder than I probably should when I'm running the grinder, especially the big grinder, and I keep my hand up on the head of the grinder. That thing gets really hot after a while because I tend to press too hard. So because of the heat, that's why I double glove. I'm also going to be using the rake. I'm going to rake it out whenever that stuff starts getting real chunky on the ends of my buff. Rake it out, get some fresh rouge on there. So that's what works for me. Time to get grinding. Okay, so something happened that for me seems to happen a lot when I'm polishing. I got interrupted. We had one of our other trucks get towed in, so I had to go and attend to that, and I'll get back to it here. But why that's kind of a problem is you kind of lose your groove, and then you're losing the heat that you were building up and things like that. So I may have to deal with trying to get rid of a gray line because of that, but I'll do my best to try and prevent that. So anyway, that's real life. That's what happens, but here we go. That does it for my cut stage. I'm going to switch over now to my yellow buffs and my green rouge to do the color stage. And just like before, I'm going to use the high speed wherever I can, and then I'll use the slower one for the tighter areas that are tougher to get at, you know, around the straps and things like that. Quick tip also, don't do your stainless with the same buffs and rouge that you use for your aluminum. There's specific stainless that you're going to want to use, and that way you're not cross-contaminating also. And then for these areas back behind the tank that I can't get at like I want to, you can see all the hash marks and things like that. I'm going to be using different types of hand polish. I have some pretty aggressive stuff called Lumi, and then I'll get in there with some Time to Shine aluminum polish and finish that off, blend it all in. It's going to look like $1,000,000. So here we go. Alright, so there we go. Final color stage is done. I have not wiped down anything. I wanted you to see it exactly as it comes off the buffer. And you're still gonna see some cross hatching in it, in that reflection, and you'll notice it even more in daylight. That's when you're really gonna see all your mistakes. And so are other people. I'm just a student of this. I am not a master, so you're gonna see some black streaks and things like that. That's going to come off in my final wipe down. I'm not going to use microfiber because microfiber actually holds on to things and you'll actually scratch up the surface worse if you're using a microfiber. So I'm going to use a brand new terry cloth and I'm going to make sure all my wiping follows the contour of the tank like that. I'm not going to go side to side. I'm not going to go in circles. I want to follow the pattern. Okay, so much of that is making sure that you keep everything vertical with your hatching. So there you have it. Back in here, I'm going to be using hand polish to get some of these really tough to reach areas, but I'm pleased with the results. I wish I could pull it outside in the sunlight for you after my final wipe down, but I need to get home because supper's ready. And so there you have it. Like I said earlier, I am not a professional polisher. I'm just a student of these things. And every time I do it, I think I get a little bit better at it. Now, I could show you hand polishing, I could show you end caps, but that might be better for a different video, or my biggest suggestion there is to go and watch Evan's Detailing and Polishing. Again, I'm going to link that down below in the section there, and you can go watch Evan's polishing. He'll teach you how to do all those things, because end caps, especially Kenworths, they're flat, and that's a totally different ballgame than doing a curved surface like this. So, Time to Shine products, go get your stuff there. They take good care of us. I use Milwaukee high-end and variable speed grinders. They work great. I hang on to my old buffs because they're worn down and smaller, so they're easier to get in some of those tight spots and things like that. So anyway, thanks for coming along, everybody. I appreciate so much your support of the channel and just following along in my day-to-day stuff. But supper's ready, so I need to get home. Peace and grease, everybody.